So, welcome to the Mantic Universe podcast for another Kings of War 4th edition preview episode. This time with Martin from Austria and Menai. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
And your host, Matthias, as usual in the latest times. And this time we have the Trident Realm army preview for you guys to listen. And first of all, we want to introduce our new participants for the podcast. Martin, tell us something about you.
Okay, hi, I'm Martin from Austria. I'm playing Kings of War for 5 years now, I think. So I've joined when Clash of Kings UK was still ran from Mantic themselves. I'm playing Trident Realm for 3 years now. I think 3 years it is. So I've discovered a lot of things there, and I like them very much. And this is my favorite army at the moment. I never get bored of them, and I'm very excited for the new Trident Realm list. It is there's a lot changed, and I'm very excited to tell you about it, to discuss about it, and to talk about it.
Okay. Menai, where are you from?
I'm also from Austria. Surprise, surprise. I play Kings of War for 2 years, 3 years now. I played a lot of other tabletops beforehand. I only played Trident Realm so far, but I've been looking to expand into Salamanders, maybe. And I also played on the last Clash of Kings, where they announced the 4th edition. That was my first Clash of Kings.
Yeah, so we have all played several tournaments. So this is now you can call it an Austrian edition of the MUP podcast. Maybe Gad from Singapore drops in a little bit later, depending if he can join or not. You know, he is a father now, so his timetable is a little bit tricky. And follow. So for one, I don't know when this episode will be launched officially because of the usual time zone differences. We are a little bit in a time traveling spot here. So it might be that you get a different episode without the introduction of the new guys to listen before we have this one on air. But for further reference, you know our new hosts now, our co-hosts, and we are dropping in with two Trident Realm experts from 3rd edition who played several tournaments and also at Clash of Kings to get an in-depth review of what to expect now. And first of all, we want to start. So this, for all of you out there, we want to try a little bit of a different format here to not just reading out and go into details about the different profiles and changes, but also drop in different tactics, how we are going to play the new army, what things changed, and how we like this or not. If you like this format and want to have us other army reviews done in the same way, please drop a comment. If you don't like it and want to change something, criticism and comments are always welcome in here to improve the bot. And so now let's start. The part 1 of this podcast will be the army review in details. So first of all, how do we feel in general about the new layout and presentation compared to 3rd edition? Because we have already seen on the Mantic blog that the profiles changed. For those watching on YouTube, you see the pictures in here. For those listening on Spotify or any other podcast episode, go to the Mantic website on their blogs to see the different changes for unit profiles. So the 3rd edition unit profile was different to 2nd edition again, with a more, compact layout with the main stat, speed, meal, and range defense on a larger face, and then the usual table, what's different for regiment and hordes on a table down there. The new format is on a more classic one, with all stats on the table, the different options, special rules, and things on there, and a picture of the new army or the picture of the new models or models in general, they're with the army list, which I personally think is a big improvement in the past, because previously we had these keywords which are now gone that gave us a hint what the unit is supposed to be. Now with a picture, this is much more clear now, and this compensates the fallout of the keywords, which now are only really for the traits used in rules. So what's your impression, guys?
I really
Martin.
like this. Yeah, thank you. I really like this new kind of presentation. The picture is a good improvement. It also gives you a little more fantasy flair. It's not just tables and just numbers, but it's a kind of story you're playing. It's really units putting together. It's uh, things with a face. So I like it very much. I also like it. I like the fact that it is streamlined a little. So the height is gone to the general rules, and the nerf is just one number, so don't have to explain someone what the difference between two numbers, and um, the traits are much cleaner now, because all of the units in Trident Realms have a maximum of one trait, I think. So it's very clean now, and they also took away a lot of optional things, auras, or things that are making units more complicated. So it's easier to grasp what is the unit now. It's especially interesting if you are playing a lot of different armies. So you're faster in understanding what the army of your opponent does, even if you are not used to playing this army. So I'm pretty positive about that.
In general, I like that the whole stat line is now one line instead of the four circle things, and only the attacks and everything else is listed for regiment, troops, and hordes. I like that every line has the full stat line. I like it more. It gives me a better overview of what this unit does. I don't need to look somewhere else on the circle. I also like that the keywords are gone and now trades, and the new rules specifically state trades with this rule only affects Ocean Spawn, as we see here on the Deptora.
Yeah.
It makes it easier to orientate on what is what.
Yeah, I think this is also something especially for new players who were, when there are 5 different keywords where only one is for rules and the actions and the other 4 just describing what the unit is supposed to be, or the background or fluff of the unit. So this is the cleaner look is much better for new players to get into the rules. And something I think is an advantage as well is that the new stat line would look much more similar in the companion and the books now, because previously we had the book layout, like the classic one in here was different to the one we got from the companion, because this was an online tool or a website on mobile phone that has a classic stat layout. So I expect that this is now, they are taking the new layout in there, and it should be much more similar, so we get a better orientation also with different layouts and new rules. And I've just seen now we are now 4 people in here as Gad just joined in. Hello there.
Hi
guys.
Hi.
So you missed nothing special. We just had a quick introduction unit. So Gad, tell us a little bit about you, for all out there who don't know you or don't remember you from the last episodes.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Gad. So on Facebook, I'm Mod Gaddafi. I've been playing Kings of War since second edition, 2016 or so. Yeah, so I'm from Singapore in Southeast Asia. We do have a pretty decent community here. I've traveled to quite a few tournaments. That is where I've actually met Matthias and also Chris Thomas and Clem at Clash of Kings 2023 and also Clash of Kings 2019. Otherwise, I'm also a Trident player. That was my last army I brought to our local Clash of Kings Asia last year. This year, 2024. So I'm pretty excited for the changes. Yeah, I think you were mentioning about the depth horrors. I think it's sad that they lost Ensnare, but they look more like the mod. The stats match the model now. Them being defense 3 was a bit odd. I think defense 4 with Crush 2. I think it fits the model better. Yeah, anyway, glad to be here. So please go on.
Yeah. So you missed nothing important for now. And okay, so
It's okay. I want to add something to this change from the depth horrors.
Yeah.
I think I like the change because they differentiate the depth horrors much more from the Thools. Because formerly the Thools and the depth horror were pretty much the same. The depth horror had 1 pip more nerf, and they had the 1 crushing strength, and the Thools had their stealthy. But if you just added the crushing strength via the magic item, you paid nearly the same and had nearly the same profile. So they were very, very similar. And Mantic changed that. So you have 2 different units with very different intentions, which can do very different roles now. So I really like this differentiation between 2 units which were pretty similar formerly in version 3.
And also in version 3, depth horrors could unlock more because they were large infantry. But now it's the roles have been reversed. Depth horrors are core, those are specialists. So depth horrors are easier unlock.
Yeah.
Now
Let's
definitely too.
switch a little bit or pick that up to the new unlocking system. We now know by the Mantic block that we need +2 2 core units to unlock a specialist, support, and auxiliary units. We have need to have at least 1 commander that needs its own unlock. This commander can be a warlord, but don't need to be one. And now is the interesting part for all the Trident Realm players out there. What are the core and auxiliary units? And the biggest change that or things that we needed to be is Death Horrors are a core unit that unlocks in both the troop and the regiment. The other unlocks are River Guard regiments that have the option to switch out their javelins for crushing strength. We have Black Defenders and Razor Swords, both as regiment unlocks, and Naid and Snares with regiment and horde as unlocks. The troop sizes of the last 3 or last 4 mentioned units are all auxiliaries. So if you want to have your River Guard troops with javelins, you need to unlock them via a core unit. And also the usual tidal swarms are core but auxiliaries. So yeah, this is an interesting one now because Naiads are their own, or Naiads.
Naiads, yeah.
Naiads, sorry. Usual Mantic Universe podcast issue with pronunciation on special words because no one of us is a native speaker at the moment. So, these are, so the Naiads and Snares are the only core horde that also unlocks. What do you guys think about this? Because, like God, do you think people will still take the Ensnare hordes or switch over to regiments?
Have a place. I think the army is higher than enough. Am I wrong? Yeah, so the highest nerf you can get with Ensnare and regen. So it still has a place.
Okay.
About the regeneration, maybe we should mention regeneration changed a lot here in the whole Trident Realm list. So formerly regeneration was I think always only with the king it was 5+, but the rest was always regeneration 4+, and this changed. So all of the regenerating units are regeneration 5+ now. So they are less regenerative. The only two units which kept their 4+ was the Kraken and kept and Axel Tricklebrook. Axel Tricklebrook is in the list now, and he is one of the only ones who has regeneration 4+. So the Naiad and Snares really changed in this kind of what they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, they're not only the so for the core choices, we have the Naiads with regeneration. We have the Blacoderm Defenders, which is a 6+ headstrong phalanx unit. The Razor Swords are with crushing and headstrong on defense 5+, and the River Guard is your defense 4 faint fly leaper pathfinder unit. So
no snare anymore.
Aber no snare anymore. So less regeneration in general for the army, unless you go full with Naiads on that theme. And I'm not sure about the River Guard in general, because it's like it's no ensnare, no regeneration. But you get faint and fly. This makes them more of the mobile light cavalry unit, if you want it that way. I think this could be a new chaff replacement instead of the larger tidal swarm units, because they only have a troop choice now, and no swarms or regiments anymore. Regiments and what? Sorry. But yeah, so
for the River Guards, Nina, do you want to talk about them, or shall I?
I can talk about them. I have played them a lot in the last year since they were changed in 3rd edition, and different formation was added with the troops. I really used the formation as my chaff. I didn't play the tidal swarms, and I used shooty River Guard frogs as my chaff and my front line. With the formation, they were 11-13, and in snare, they were super tanky, and if you ignored them, they just shot you to death or jumped in themselves and blocked you. With their speed 7 fly Pathfinder, they were super mobile. I always had my block units there where I wanted them. They can serve the same purpose, but to unlock the troops, you still need regular core units, because the troops are auxiliary. The formation is gone. In general, we expect that there are no formations anymore. But now they are only 12+, and with no ensnare, the troops aren't tanky enough to serve as a chaff.
Maybe we should also mention the price went up.
Or only as a chaff that dies. I don't think they will profit from their feint, because they don't survive charges. Even as a regiment, I don't think they survive charges well enough that they really have the option to use the withdraw. Okay, if they survive with 10 wounds, the feint gives them the withdraw without nerf test, but it's still risky, and I don't think they work that way. They really needed the ensnare to keep the wounds down, so you can feint like 1 or 2 times. But so I don't think that they even get to feint once.
May I add something? So the River Guard as a troop, they went up 10 points in price, so I don't think they are as good in their role as a chaff. anymore. The regiment on the other side, it went down 20 points, so it's 155 points now, and they have something. They have the feint rule, and they have something that is pretty rare. They have shooting 4+, so that means if they stand still, they shoot at the 3+ with a piercing 1, so they have a very good shooting. And the other thing is, if you feint away, so if someone charges you, you can feint away and shoot again. So feint does allow you to just get back, as long as you don't. If your rear is clear and you don't bump into anything else, then you can just shoot, because you are not engaged. Disorder is not a thing anymore. And as long as you're not engaged, you can shoot. So you can shoot at 4s if someone charges you, and you can shoot at 3s if no one charges you. And the Trident Realms has, we should go into the command rules. The Trident Realms has a lot of possibilities to get things into your shooting range. So often the River Guard does not want to move and just wants to shoot a 3+. And if they have 15 attack, piercing 1, shooting on 3s, that's a lot of wounds. And for only 155 points, they are doing a lot. So I don't think they're a bad unit now. They are a pretty good choice if you want to go shooting heavy.
Yeah, in general, so this is the typical what we expect from a light cavalry. It harasses the opponent, so it's there, it's shooting, it's doing a little bit of round. We remember shooting can't rout the unit anymore, but it still can waver. So just ignoring the shooting unit isn't really an option. At the same time, if you cannot rout your the unit you charge in the same turn, and they have feint, if they survive, they can be drop out without risk. So I think this is this classic harassing unit. If you ignore them, you have a problem. If you don't ignore them and the opponent plays well, he can trick you into making charges that you don't really want to do. So this is why I'm thinking this is I think this is how chaff in general is going to change in 4th, because you don't have this one unit anymore, like the swarms that you drop in blocking a unit or blocking the ways, but it is more about the small shooting units tricking other ones into making the charge they don't want to do, or to hop around because they are rather mobile, and also in the late game to drop in shooting to kill those units that are nearly are gone already. So let's switch away from the core now to the command orders, because this is now another interesting point. So we know, because the Mantic Universe podcast got 2 different lists to review. One is the Salamanders that will be on there later. And from this point on, we know that not all armies get the same number of command orders, and also the target numbers are different. So the Trident Realm has 5 different commands, with 2 of them being a 4+ target number and the other 3 on a 5+ target numbers, with 1 needing 2 successes to be successful. We don't know yet how commands fully work. From the limited information we have, we know they are limited to 12 inch in range, and we suspect that they are given in the movement phase or pre-order that, and not in the shooting phase, just from what commands are available. And so, as Martin already mentioned, the Trident Realm has some of them that help to get units into range. We have Thralling, which is target number 5+, to give the unit the Enthrall 5 spell. We have a Hardened Shell that gives Bark Skin to units with the Sea Monster trait. We have Aqua Venom that adds in for Ocean Spawn or Amphibian trait only, and gives them a 4+ to hit on combat and ranged attacks, regardless of modifiers. The Blood in the Water that gives Vicious on a 5+, And we have the healing tide, which is for each success, the unit heals 1 point of damage. So we got the healing command order, which is pretty interesting, as Trident also has heal on their mages. So, and the Arcane Library, which is a unique spell. It's Slime Den, which is there to slow units down to a minimum of movement 3, and the unit are unable to use the fly special rule until the end of the next turn. And this cannot be combined with Frostbite. So
No blizzard and sliming.
no. So how do we feel about these command orders? So is this what we expected the commands to be, or did we expect something different, more powerful, or more unique? Menai.
I'm in general a bit disappointed on the command orders.
Give me a second.
I expected one command order that gives a unit Enthrall, or the Oceanborn Enthrall to limit it further. Because so many units lost, not Enthrall, Ensnare, sorry, Ensnare. So I really thought that will come with a command order, so nets up or something, that you get the grinding power of the Trident Realms. Trident Realms for me was always that heavy grinding army that you can't hit and just survive. Yes, you get the healing tide for a bit extra healing. That can be at a maximum 3 points of healing if you roll good on a Warlord. And that doesn't give me the same feeling as Ensnare on more units would give me. I like the idea with the hardened shell on the sea monsters. Because you can make your big guys tougher now. So if you give a Coral Giant now Bugskin on top, he's basically unkillable unless you do a double or triple charge. He and yeah, the Aqua Venom, what gives basically a hammer of measured force, and the blood in the water for vicious are cool gimmicks. They're okay, but I hoped for more defensive ones.
I don't. I'm not your opinion. I have a different opinion.
Yeah, that's why we're doing a podcast here and talking about that.
So about the Aqua Venom, yeah. So Aqua Venom basically gives you Hammer of Measured Force on Ocean Spawn and Amphibian. So that's basically everything that isn't a monster. So it's the Naiad Ensnarers, it's the Thools, it's things that just don't have crushing strength from their own. So you can give your Ensnarers now a Hammer of Measured Force just as a command. You don't pay anything extra. You can give your Thools, which have a lot of attacks, which are Berserker units hitting pretty good but wounding bad. You can give them a Hammer of Measured Force just when you need it, where you need it. And that is a very, very strong thing you want in Trident Realms. You want to give your guys with a lot of attacks Hammer of Measured Force just as you need it. And you can do it now.
Yeah, that was one of the one I liked, but I think it's tricky to give units that, because we all know Bencham 2 is a lie, and now you have Aqua Venom 2 if you use a normal commander on a 5+ and not a 4+, and that's even more a lie.
It's a risky one. So you can't really rely on it to go off if you don't take it on or don't speak it with a Warlord.
Yes, you will. And you can also add an item where you get an extra command die.
Nice.
So if you take this on a Warlord, you have 4 4 roles. Pretty
So
much
for
works.
people who haven't seen it yet or didn't listen to it yet, the Direct Misfire podcast got a review on the artifacts. So from this podcast, we know what items are in there, how they changed, and things like that. So for any reference that we make in this army list about artifacts, please go back to listen to the Direct Misfire podcast on the details on those. And yeah, Gad, what do you think about the command orders?
I think overall it's okay. I'm not so disappointed. It's flavorful. I think the ensnare command would have been too strong. Imagine defense 6 gigas with ensnare. It's not going to go anywhere. If you notice, a lot of the units lost ensnare.
Gigas are
Yeah.
Gigas would be sea monsters and effectively 2 ocean spawns.
Oh yes, yeah, okay. Yes, yeah. But if there was an ensnare command, so yeah, but they can get they can get they can't get the they can get the basking, which is interesting. Yeah. So they can get the basking, more of the bigger stuff. Overall, I think the Aqua Venom is good. As you know, there is no loot of insatiable darkness anymore. I don't think there's any way for the spellcasters to get Bane Shan. I might be wrong, because we don't know if they can purchase from the Arcane Library. Can they? I don't know. So I think overall there's a reduction bit.
We know that the loot is not a thing anymore. So General Bane Shan is gone. This is something, and we don't have it on the mages for Trident, I think, but we go into details when we mention the champions and heroes. So yeah, so this compensates very much like this command order compensates that the loot is gone. I think we all just expected something different, that when we say ensnare or other auras are gone, that the commands compensated, but this everything in here, it it changes how Trident was played before, or at least some aspect of how it was played before, because the massive regeneration and ensnare hard to kill army isn't there anymore. It's now,
if you don't want it, you can build around fools and snares, and you can build ensnare into. There's a very nice build where you have a lot of ensnare and Trident Realms, and I'm sure it works pretty well. I will try it.
Yeah. So
maybe I can just give you an overview which unit kept ensnares. If it's okay for you.
Let's talk about more a little. So sorry everyone out there for this being a little bit chaotic. It's for me the first time I'm handling 4 people in there talking in the podcast, and also our first army review, even if this one is out there later. So we still learn a little bit on that one here. And I try to get things better and improve in future, obviously. So yeah, let's talk a little bit. We have already covered the core. Let's go into the units in general with specialist and support next. And yeah, it's a good way to start. Let's do which units kept ensnare and the special rules we knew from before. Martin.
Okay, so the units that kept ensnare are obviously the ensnarers and the Thools. Then you have the Naka, which is still with ensnare, and you have the Kraken, which is a very good unit now, and it also kept ensnare. And the Centurions both have ensnare. So the Naiad Centurion had ensnare, and it has ensnare now. But also the Naiad Worm Rider Centurion, it got ensnare as a new rule. So he is defense 5 with ensnare now, with regeneration, with a bumped up nerf. So very good choice at the moment. Those are the units that have ensnare. One of them is a warlord. They are also there's also ensnare of some non-melee units, so the Aquamage, the Siren, and the Envoy. But if I want to build an ensnaring army, I can take ensnares as a core choice. I can take Thools as a support choice. No, as a
Specialist.
Specialist choice. And as a support choice, I can go to the Naka and the Kraken. And for the heroes, I have my Centurions. So I have on every part of the army, I have my ensnaring units. So there are enough to build an army around it. And I think it would get pretty good. You just don't have all of the things you had before. So no more on the depth horse.
Right. So the classic ensnare Trident Realm unit army is still there. It just changed a little bit with the units. So for general information, what unit disappeared from the list, Martin?
We have,
because you've written it down.
yeah. So we have the Tidal Swarm Regiment. So kind of how you take it. Tidal Swarm is only available at the smaller scale. So only the
troop version, yeah.
The troop version. So no one took the bigger one anyway. So it isn't a big loss. Then the Naiad Stalker disappeared from the list. So he's out of stalking anymore. And then the Thule Mythican disappeared from the list. This was surprising, as the Thule Mythican was pretty popular, but it was very near to the Aqua Mage. So I think it is a good choice to delete him from the list, because you now are more distinct with your units. And someone of the named units also seemed to had his last breath. It's Kurosh. You couldn't tell his name anyway, so he won't be mispronounced anymore. Kurosh is not in our list anymore.
Okay. So let's cover a little bit on the specialist. We have already mentioned that there are the fools in there. There are the Naiad heart piercers, which for all those who build this nasty shooting core heart piercers armies will be disappointed now, because they need to be unlocked. We have water elementals as troop and regiment, and the Naiad worm riders as troop and regiment. So for all who haven't seen the changes now, the large infantry and monstrous infantry and cavalry units change the designation. The old small single row one is now a troop and not a regiment anymore, and the old horde is now the regiment, which brings this in line with all the other units.
The Gigas and the Riverguard Dambusters are also.
And the Gigas are there, and the Riverguard Dambusters. So I think the only...
Just to share as well, the heart piercers can be called if you take a certain warlord, which we will cover later on.
So I think the only controversial unit in there are the Riverguard Dambusters. Everyone else, I think, is a reasonable choice to be in specialist. The Dambusters are your large cavalry crushing 2, thunderous 1, which is an interesting thing now, because what we have heard from other lists or choices, that most cavalry should be leaning into thunderous charge anymore, but those have still this crushing 2, thunderous 1, fly and strider.
Like the word.
Yeah. I'm just how to say, they are... I'm surprised that they're still the way they are.
They absolutely have no changes. Just the points went down 5 for the regiment and went up 10 for the troop. But every troop went up a little bit. So they are pretty much the same unit as they always have been.
Yeah. So you're still, how to say, your shock troop cavalry in that regard. The fools are still the berserker type of unit, which hit good with a lot of attacks, but don't hit hard, which can be compensated with a command order. You're still your 15-20 attacks unit for troop and regiment. They're ocean spawn and have wild charge D3, which is now the gambling spell, like I to call it, because it's you now roll it when you declare the charge, and if you fail, you can't declare another charge. Just move the unit in a different way. So adding anything but one edge is a gambling move on your side, because even if someone likes this thing and likes to gamble or trick the opponent into this kind of thing, that he may roll high or not, this is something for you to do. For everyone else, just calculate it with 1 inch and be happy. Yeah, do you guys think the troop option here is still an option, or is more that the regiment preferred? Menai.
I think the regiment is preferable. I didn't play a lot of troop tools. Martin tried the troop tools. He has some experience with it. I did see his point. He killed me with his two troops because they were small flanking units. I couldn't defend on them. And if you get like a tool troop in the flank with 30 attacks, even if they don't have crushing, they hurt. And now they can get the Hammer of Measured Force.
Command.
So
The command,
command, so it would hurt even more. What I think about the tools is that they're pretty fast. Yes, Matthias said it's a gambling move with the wild charge. But if you take the who was it? The
Death for Eternal.
Death for Eternal with them. They also get he also has a aura for wild charge too, that adds to the D3, so you can try charges far out of range. And look, yeah, I can go in, or I can't go in and be far out of charge range from the enemy and still be safe, or if I can only move more normally and don't have the high roll. So I just would like place two of them next to each other. Look, okay, I declare double charge, I roll for both. Yeah. And then look if I can go in or not. Do I need to charge if I roll the distance? I don't think that.
Yes, you have declared a charge and you have to carry it out.
Okay.
So once you declare the charge, you roll the distance, and then if you roll right, you have to make the charge. If you don't roll right, you cannot make any charge at all. So this is the new change for wild charge, as far as we know, from the block and the refuse. It makes it,
because it was mentioned. Shall I talk a little about the Depth for Eternal? Because
that we cover that one later. Just I want to get through the specialist unit now. So Gad, what's your favorite specialist unit from the new list?
Oh, that's a difficult question. I would lean towards the Gigas. I think the Gigas now are great. They actually got cheaper, so they are crossing strength 3 now, which is insane, and they are 200 points. So still 12 attacks, but it's very high quality attacks. So even if you hit with 6-7 hits, you still get 6-7 wounds because of CS3 and vicious. And I think there are ways to improve their hitting power. They can get elite from one of the characters. So to me, the Gigas, I've always been a fan of Gigas, so I'm very happy with the changes for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So okay, Martin, any thoughts
Their masters are
on this?
also interested in their masters.
Yeah. So any other thoughts on the specialist unit, Gad and Martin? What do we take? So
Gigas are a very strong choice. As you mentioned, there is a hero that gives them the elite aura. They got cheaper 5 points in the regiment, and a little more expensive in the troop by 15 points. And they stayed absolutely the same in regards of the rest. They lost their nimble, but the movement is different. So you can advance, you can pivot 2 times anyway. So it's just for the charge that they are not as nimble as they were. So Gigas are still a good choice. And there's also the command, like we mentioned, the hardened shell command, which can give them barkskin. So you roll 2 or 3 or 4 dice, depending on your on who is casting it. And on a 4+, you get 1 barkskin token per success. So you can potentially get 4 barkskin tokens on Gigas, which will probably not happen, but you could. And this is a very strong thing, in addition to having healing now in Trident Realms. You have a healing command, you have a heal spell, so you can heal them a little, you can barkskin them a little, so Gigas can get very, very robust, hard-hitting unit. My favorite specialist is still Thule, because they stayed as they are, but they get this free Hammer of Measured Force command, and they get this Wild Charge 2 aura from the Depth Horror Eternal if you take him. So this is very, very nice. I really like them. And they still have a snare. Like, I love them.
As it should be. So any other big changes on the specialist unit so far, or is everything else?
We should talk about water elementals.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk water elementals. So we have a large infantry, troop, and regiment in here. They are sea monsters. They are 205 points for the regiment. What is the biggest change now, Martin?
They have Thunderous 2 now. So if you shamble into someone, they have Crushing 1 and Thunderous 2. So you're effectively having Crushing 3 in your first go. That was something that that was a problem with the ensnare, with the enthrall tactic within Trident Realms, because water elementals were too weak to just take out the unit, even in the flank, because they only had, I think, Crushing Strength 1 and nothing else. And it is just, even in the flank, not enough. They have melee 4, so they had melee 4, they have melee 4, but this time the quality of their attacks is much stronger. And you could even add Vicious now with the Blood in the Water command.
And elite with Axel, because they're sea monsters.
And elite. So the quality of attacks on water elementals can be absolutely different, like they have been before. And you have with the thralling command, you have the possibility to get a lot of enthrall to your units, so you can just pull someone here and surge the water elementals into this one. You could have done this before, but the water elementals didn't have the crushing power they needed, and now you can give it to them, and that's a big difference.
I think something I find interesting on the water elementals is that they are quite tanky now, because we have a defense 5+, regeneration 5+, sea monsters, so they are also a potential target for barkskin, which makes them in general also not just a good hitting unit, but also a good tanking unit in the right setup. So this could be an interesting theme choice for some people who don't like the Gigas or the Dam Busters, and use them as their shambling hammer and tank.
Yes, it's a viable choice.
With some shooting behind them, and just do your shooting and then shamble them in. I think that's devastating.
The only thing the water elementals really lost is they lost Strider. They did have Strider in 3rd edition. They don't have Strider anymore. So if you are searching through terrain, you're losing your Thunderous, and they are as weak as they always have been. So you have to position the enemy somewhere where he is not in terrain. So you have to you have to enthrall him where you want him.
Yeah. So use Enthrall to get him out of the terrain, and then shamble the water elementals in there is now something, or the future tactic for them. So Gad is currently not offline but silent. So for every listeners who don't know, Gad has a little baby boy or baby. I don't know if it's a boy actually. Sorry, he has a little baby at home. So if he drops out there, and it should be late at night for him, while we are early in the day. So if you don't hear anything from him, he's silent now. So he's getting to care about family things anymore. So we will be back later, I guess. So we switch into the support units, which have in there our Naka, the Greater Water Elemental, the 3 Leaper Dam Busters, the River Guard, Arbalest, and the Leviathan's Pain. And
the monsters.
Yeah. And the monsters, which is the Coral Giant and the Kraken.
And the Naka.
So something that we have in here that gets interesting now is that the Arbalest and the Leviathan's Bane are limited to each one to 2 per battalion. So if you want to take 4 War Machine-like units, you have to take both. Otherwise, it's only 2 of each. And the big question here now is what you guys think by taking for support. It's usually War Machines versus Naka versus Kraken versus Giant as our unit of choice. Which one would you take and why in which combination, Martin?
Okay. We were just talking about shambling. So I have to inform our dear listeners that the Coral Giant is shambling now. So this is an interesting choice because the Coral Giant was always seen as a giant, like the Goblin Giant. So with 2 legs and his arms and a face and something. But Mantic made the model like an elemental. And so they changed the Coral Giant to fit this theme more. He's an elemental now, so he's speed 6 now, not like the Giant speed 7. He has still melee 4. He has his attacks like before, 8 plus d6. He has a little more nerf. He has 19 now. His points went down by 20, and he is shambling now. He's also fearless, and he lost brutal, like most giants have. He lost ensnare, and he lost his giant club cleaver option, which makes him a little easier to understand. He also gained fearless, and he gained. That's very interesting. He gained Iron Resolve 3. So the Coral Giant is a very interesting option now if you want shambling guys. He's cheaper as he has been. He's 195 points now, and you can shamble him somewhere, and he's very, very sturdy. He's a sea monster, so you can give him Hardened Shell. You can potentially give him this Spark Skin command, which makes him even more durable. And the funny thing is, if you give him some Buckskin, and someone does only 1 damage, he Iron Resolves 3 back. So he's very hard to kill unless you commit a lot to him. And this Coral Giant is a very interesting choice if you go this route of taking shambling units, of taking maybe water elementals, Coral Giant, and a lot of Enthrall. So you have things that can search into your enemy that has been pulled to your army, that has been weakened by shooting, and the Coral Giant is your choice here if you go this route. On the other side, if you take the ensnaring route, the Kraken is very interesting now because he has his ensnare. He still has. I played the Kraken a lot. I like this unit. It's one of the main reasons why I play Trident Realms. And the Kraken had always this problem with shooting. He was big. He only defense 4, and everyone shot him because he was a big unit. He drew a lot of attention. And now that shooting changes, this is not that much of a threat anymore because he won't waver. And he could waver, but he's fearless, and he won't die because you don't shoot 18 wounds on a
Yeah.
Kraken. So he will probably survive this shooting threat. That was always a big threat for the Kraken. And then he has still regeneration 4, so he regenerates everything down. He has potential. He's a potential Bugskin command receiver, so you can protect him in his regeneration phase. So he's very, very good if you go this ensnaring route. And another thing that is very interesting that has changed with the Kraken, he's now melee 3, not melee 4 anymore. And he has gained Rampage 8, so much more like the what was this horror called? Like this from the Night Stalker.
From the Night Stalkers. Yeah.
Yeah. So they are more. He's gone more that route. The only thing he lost one crushing. He also lost his Slayer, of course, and there's no aura option anymore. But he's only crushing 1 now. So he has gained a lot of attacks, but the quality decreased a little. But on the other side, he's very sturdy now. He also went down 5 points, if that's important. So very interesting choice now. Now playing 2 Kraken is an option, which it was not before.
Menai, what do you think? Is it worth taking the war machines and the multiple knackers like before, or are you also leading into more monsters?
I mean, if I look at the knacker, he's really a rocket. You send him on the flank on the first turn. He will move his 18 and be on the enemy's flank, and he's always a worry point for the enemy that hits in the flank. He only has 6 attacks, but in the flank it's 12, or even a rear charge with 18 attacks. He has Thunderous 3. He hits on 3. Yes, Strider. He is a worry point. I would put at least one of them into my army just to distract the enemy with 2 or 3 units that need to have an eye on the knacker. So that's one point. And
and he's also very maneuverable. He's one of the only units that kept nimble. So even if you distract the enemy and you put something in between, the knacker is pretty high as a monster. So he can probably see above them, and he just nimbles around, and it's a flank anyway.
Yeah. So the knacker is a really good point to get time off your enemy's clock if you play with a clock.
Yeah.
Because he really needs to worry about this thing hitting his flank.
The points costs did change, although.
Yeah, so it's expensive now. But it's
175 points now.
Yeah.
So not likely to be taken twice or several times now.
At the maximum 2 if you really commit to it with like 2 Krakens and 2 knackers. So that you have the option to distract both flanks or have 2 knackers on one flank, so you can do a double knacker charge. That would be 24 attacks, and that really would hurt. So the war machines, I've tried them before. I wasn't really happy about them with the hitting. Now they hit on 4s when they stand still.
Like they were before?
Yeah. It's It can be good if you have some shooting and just keep them in the wavered state. So you shoot something, waver it, and then you have a cheap unit. It's only 95 points, and you shoot it again and maybe take it out in 2 or 3 turns, or pull it closer. The Leviathan's Bane has the option to pull enemies closer, to shamble something in, or just keep them wavered. That's a key option for that.
They only have 2 attacks, so if they stand still, 2 attacks on force. So it's not very reliable if you take only one of them. So you will most probably
you want to still take 2.
And that's 2 slots from my support that I miss.
Instead of a War Machine, I could take a Kraken, I could take a Knucker, I could take a Greater War Elementals, something like that. You really need to pay for those slots because you need so many units to buy. I have to buy so many core units and specialists to unlock one of those slots. You only have 4 if you get 8 core or specialist. Mixed, like whatever. And then you only have 4 slots, and to waste 2 on them on a Leviathan's Bane is, I don't think that's worth it.
I also don't think it's worth it. It is too big of a commitment. I mean, he has D3 plus 1 now with his blast, but that doesn't compensate for the missing slot. And it is too much effort to get them into a list. I don't think we will see a lot of them.
On the other hand, it's also the Arbalest and the Bane are the cheapest supports unit by a lot. Everyone else is at least 75 points more expensive in there. So
the Arbalest changed a lot. If I can just
let's talk a little bit about those. The
Arbalest, from its model, it's a Dam Buster, and they changed the speed of Dam Busters all along the list. They are just speed 7 now. Every Dam Buster is speed 7. So also the Arbalest is speed 7 now. They changed the points of the Arbalest. They made it cheaper. So it's 100 points now. And they changed the range. What is interesting, the Arbalest formerly was only 18 inch. Now it is 24 inches. And now it is piercing 2. So it's a shooting unit with piercing 2. That's interesting if you want to go into shooting. Now the Arbalest has its own role. It has 2 attacks with blast D3. So it dishes out as much as a War Machine, but it's more mobile, much more mobile.
Yeah.
And also a unit that has a different height than the other monsters. It had a special rule of height 4, which makes it an interesting option over the Leviathan's Bane because you are easier to spot or see something now.
And also for scenario play. So on the last turn, on turn 5 or 6, you can just jump somewhere because he has fly. He has speed 7 now. Formerly he only had speed 6, so he's faster now. And you can, other than the War Machine, you can just jump to whatever objective you want to hold in the last turn. So it's more useful than Leviathan's Bane.
He's a monster. He's scoring. So if you have a lot of core and specialists and filled up with 2 Krakens and a Coral Giant and have points left that you don't want to spend on champions or commanders, you could take Arbalest.
I have it in here that we don't know if they are scoring. We don't even know if scoring still exists. We assume it because of information that is out there in the wild or other YouTube channels and podcasts covered it a little bit, that scoring scenarios and unit strengths and those things are still there. We have no details on that whatsoever. So this is just assuming or speculation based on the information we have so far. So don't go out there and now everyone claims that we said something. This is not a spoiler of things. We don't really know, but just we assume it on how roles and monsters and things are there. So, but previously the difference was monsters could score war machines could not, and we just think this will stay the same.
Even if a Leviathan Spain can score, he's much less mobile. He has only
Yeah,
speed 5. War machines cannot run, and the Arbalest is speed 7 with fly, so it's much more mobile.
I mean, scoring on things or how objectives play with it. An interesting point is a war machine with the 48-inch range, and that you only get +1 for shooting on a hold order means you want them, put them in a good spot at the very beginning and turn or move them whatsoever over the rest of the game. And this means also they are, unless there's a scoring scenario where units in your own half score, or you place them near an objective at the very beginning, they are hardly ever to be useful for scoring scenarios at all in that way as Arbalest is.
Oh, that was a good point with the shooting. The Arbalest has shooting 5, so if it stands still, it stays at shooting 4. So
Yeah.
if he moves, he loses a little of shooting power.
Okay,
It was
so
not the case before.
let's so
What
the other
just
monster.
one thing about the greater water elemental.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to mention now, because that one is, how do I say, from my point of view, similar to the Coral Giant now, just that the Giant is a Titan and the water elemental is still a monster. But it's the other shambling unit in the support. It's hitting harder with
it has melee 3 now. It had melee 4 in version 3, so it's easier to hit, and the attack went up. So in the last version, they had the greater water elemental had attack 9, and now he has attack 10. But the price is also a lot more expensive. And of course, it also got the water elemental treatment with Thunderous 3. So if the greater water elementals hit something, it really hits.
Yeah, they are hitting hard now. So that.
And this one has kept Strider. So this one can also be searched through terrain. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, and now that you mention it, as only a monster without the Titan trait, wouldn't he be placed on a 50mm base?
Yeah.
Yes, it would. You're right.
Yeah.
So it's the small searchable thing here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's also so the Coral Giant. So the big difference is the Coral Giant is more grindy because he is crushing free and not thunderous free. He has the larger base and iron resolve. So this is like really the unit that keeps in there, that is hard to kill, but also hitting hard, at least on if you roll good for your attacks. The water elemental is on a smaller base. He's really only hitting hard in the charge, with the ongoing combat being a downside for him, and with regeneration 5+ instead of Iron Resolve. He can be taken out easier, I think, than the Coral Giant is.
Well, he the water elemental has 18 nerf. The Coral Giant has 19 nerf.
Yeah.
Both are fearless. Both are defense 5. So it's pretty similar about the sturdiness. Just the Iron Resolve 3 and the Regeneration 5 are different flavors. I think they are pretty much as sturdy as they are. But the water elemental, the greater water elemental, is more expensive. So the greater water elemental is 225 points now, and the Coral Giant is 195 points. So it's 30 points difference. And what you get for it is a little more reliable attacks and a smaller base size. But on the other hand, what you lose is the if you don't kill something with your search, then the Thunderous is away. Both have Strider, both can be searched. The Water Element is a little more speedy with speed 7, but that's not the point of taking it. So they are a little similar. I personally would prefer the Coral Giant because the Coral Giant is more flexible. If you don't kill the unit, he can just hit the second time.
Yeah.
And the Iron Resolve 3 is also a very fun rule.
So this is more going into if someone prefers this, how to say, a glass cannon build, or a high speed or Alpha Strike. I don't know if Alpha Strike isn't
Yeah,
really mine,
Alpha
but
Strike.
Alpha Strike is the so
Strike
the this, yeah. And those who want to grind out or a more tanky build, or going for the Cobble Giant. So let's look into the champions now.
We missed the Dumbbuster, the Tree Leapers.
We missed the Dumbbuster. Sorry, guys. We are back to support and cover the Dumbusters.
If you want,
Yeah,
I can
this is
talk
your-
about them because I use them a lot in 3rd edition.
Okay, so what's going to the big change of the Dumbusters, Martin, from 3rd?
So the Dumbusters are the second unit that have Feint. So there are only 2 units with the Feint rule, with the new rule in Trident Realms. The first one we already talked about was the River Guard, and the second is this one is the Dumbusters. Their speed is 7 now, so they're a little slower than they have been. Their shooting value, their standard value, if they move, is 4. That's interesting because if they stand still, the shooting value is 3. So
3
you
plus.
can potentially pull someone into range and shoot at them hitting on 3s. They have their shooting has changed now. Those spitting frogs formerly had 12 attacks on 4, and now they changed to 6 attack, but with blast D3 and with piercing 2. And in addition, they dish out the frostbite rules, so they make their opponents slower if they hit. They lost Strider and gained Pathfinder, which is a very useful change now because you can move into terrain now. You can just jump into terrain and shoot. That's interesting. That's something that that it's easier to get into terrain now at least. They lost 1 point of Thunderous. They have no crushing. So in melee, they are as bad as they have always been. The thing that you don't like on them is they went up in points. They are 185 points now, so it's really expensive to take them. And it's you have to build your army around them a little bit because your support slots are very valuable, and just to get a shooting unit is which is really only good at shooting and at claiming objective. So it's maybe a little in competition with the other choices you have. One thing I want to just mention is if you get charged with them, you could feint out and shoot again. On the other side, they only have nerf 14. They only have defense 4. So if you get charged, you probably die. That was one thing that could be compensated in 3rd edition. You had the aura on the king, which gave rallying. You don't have rally 2 on Dambusters anymore. So with the nerf stays at 14, and 14 is a very fragile nerf value. So it's a little tricky to use them.
Can get them to 15, but that's also not
durable.
No. Yeah, that doesn't make a difference.
At least not the big one.
I mean, the only thing is you can charge like something like a chuff into it that only would do like 1 or 2 wounds and bind them. They can just walk out of them. So you need to commit a stronger unit.
That's true. Oh, apart from that, the range changed too. In 3rd edition, they had 14-inch range, which was an odd number. Now they have 12-inch range.
Yeah.
So it's
So more in line with all the shooting out here. Yeah, okay. Let's move now on to the champions. And there isn't any big surprising thing in here. So we have our full Aqua Mages, which are limited to 2 per battalion. We have the Siren, which is limited to 2. We have the Blackodon Tide Warden, which is limited to 2. We
it's a
have
new
the
unit.
Naiad Envoy, which is limited to 2 per battalion. The Dambuster Sentinel, also maximum on 2. The Riverguard Sentinel, maximum of 2. And Axel Tricklebrook, which is unique, so only 1 per army. Well, so the
So
Siren...
finally you can take 2 Sirens. Wow.
Yeah. But the
Yeah,
Siren changed. So let's look in the first option, where this is a tool Alclone Mage, which is now an interesting one. He is 95 points with access to heal free for 15, lightning bolt free, and surge 8. So like the essential unit, which is limited to if you want to go for the shambling options, but being limited to maximum of shambling, while surge 8 being good. It is a limited build now because you can't be everywhere, so your shambling unit more or less need to be close together to
You
make
can take the
most use
shambling
of
book
it. Yeah.
if you want.
Is this still a thing?
I think, yeah. The shambling book is
Yeah.
still there. I think.
Okay.
Not
Think,
sure about
don't
that.
know. Yeah, need to listen to Direct Misfire again to catch all artifacts
Yes,
that didn't
we have
change.
to.
I haven't made notes. I should get used to when listening to those kind of things to make notes for further army reviews. So okay, so the full Aqua Mage essential if you want to go either for shambling or for your healing build. Although heal free isn't heal free on 2 units together with the command, so it's
Together with the
okay.
command, it's maybe heal 5. Maybe if you take the item, heal 6. You won't take the item here. So it's a heal 5
Yeah,
if you really
so
want to.
it's nothing that you really can build around, but if you go for this ensnaring tanky building, it's a nice option to have. Yeah, okay, but so like the next thing, the Siren. Now you can take 2, but her rules changed.
Yeah, and the siren changed from a unique character to just a normal option. So you can take items now.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
new.
And she has now no options, and the special rules are ensnares. She is an individual, inspiring, stealthy, and has Enthrall 7. And the Siren with the Siren's call is that she can cast its Ephraim spell twice in each of its turn on 2 different targets within 6 inches of each other. And Ephraim does damage as normal for each hit scored. Worth taking 2 of them, or what do you think, Menai?
I think it is interesting. They had that big update for the Trident Realms a year ago, and before that, the Siren had the Enthrall that did damage. They took that away, gave her the 4 spells she could use every turn, and now she's back to dealing damage with Enthrall again. On the 2 targets, it's interesting. In a shooting or a shambling based army, we had some examples here. I think she has a space. On the other hand, you can get Enthrall over the command. It could be interesting that you pull someone forward and shamble into them, but I don't think you can Enthrall someone more than once. I don't know if that was a thing.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Just not with the siren.
Okay.
So the siren can enthrall one unit and then another one, and you could take a second siren who enthralls the same guys again.
And
So
then
with
you
two
can
sirens,
have
you would have potentially enthrall 14, and then you could use the command order to give some other guys enthrall 5. So you could, and with two sirens, you could enthrall 2 guys with enthrall 19. So you can pull a lot of guys here, and afterwards searching with water elementals because it's fun. Oh, by the way, the book does exist, so you can give search to.
Start reading. Okay.
Also, the Siren has the spellcaster trait, so if you don't need the enthrall, you also can take other spells from the Arcane Library that will be available there, so you can give her a second spell, so he has a purpose if everything is in melee.
Yes. The Aquamage and the Siren are the only 2 guys with spellcaster traits, so the only 2 guys that can take spells from the Arcane Library. But I think if you don't have need for the enthrall from the Siren, you won't take her, because the Aquamage is much cheaper. The Aquamage is 95 points, the Siren is 155 points, so it's a lot more expensive.
It's a big leap.
I mean, it's only an option if you already have 2 mages and want a third spellcaster for whatever reason. She's an option in here, but it's more likely to take a different character in addition. So,
unless you go the enthrall route.
Yeah. The next one, the Tide Warden, it's your Blacoderm champion. Nothing special about that one, except it's your defense 6 hero with crushing 1, elite, headstrong, individual, and inspiring. So I don't really see a point of taking that one outside of a Blacoderm themed list, as all other options are more interesting in there. What do you think, Martin?
Cheap melee commander. So the Tide Warden is a new unit, didn't exist in version 3. He's defense 6. He has 5 attacks with elite, 5 attacks on 3 with elite, crushing 1. He is inspiring, and he's 145 points, which is not that expensive for a commander. Commanders are rather more expensive, so it's the cheapest option to take a melee hero that also has command and inspiring. So if you want a rather sturdy guy, defense 6 is fun, especially if you have the options to take away your opponent's Thunderous, because most of the units have just a lot of crushing because of their Thunderous charge. And if you can just give an enthrall command to someone on the side and just pull a threatening unit into cover, then it can't really hurt you on the next turn. So it's an interesting option to play with it. If you want a melee hero dishing out commands and inspiring your guys.
I think he moved in instead of the tool Mythican. But the problem with the Tide Warden is he's no spellcaster, he has no host Shadow Beast. What made the tool Mythican such a good melee caster.
But he can receive host Shadow Beast.
How?
Well, he is an individual, also, so someone else has to cast it on him.
Isn't that self? I don't know. I think host Shadow Beast is self.
I don't know how host Shadow Beast changed now. I think it wasn't revealed yet on the details, so we don't really know yet. I think just assuming if it's friendly and self or
Well, I don't think it's self only. It doesn't make sense.
Wouldn't be. It wasn't self only before, or so
this
might be an option. So
it probably will not be
self-range. I think it might be an option because it would also be worth taking to. We know it is a unique spell now, I think, so it can only be taken once per army.
Yes.
Okay, in the old list, it was friendly individuals or individuals only.
Right.
Okay,
So
yeah,
this would
so he
be
could receive it. Okay.
this
So
would be
if
a
this
legal
stayed the same,
target for Shadow
it's a
Beast.
possible target.
Pretty
So,
good
I
target.
mean, something that we just from the list of champions that for the read, there is a nice theme in there that depending on what theme you go for, you have your champion or commander choices now. Because if you want to go an all frog army, you can do that. If you want to go full in Blackhoderms, you have your Blackhoderm hero now. If you want to go full for Naiads, you have your heroes as choices. So this is like if someone really wants to go for one type of or one style of unit only, you now have your hero choices without taking the unique or special ones, which is, I think, a very nice take on it. So the only Naiad champion is the Envoy, which is your replay your usual army standard Bira, which very inspiring. Ensnare, individual Pathfinder, regeneration 5+, and yielding. So, well, nerf 11+. This isn't something like 105 points. Yeah. We don't know yet how really important, very inspiring will be in the games. I think this will be something that they might be more essential than we think of them yet, because inspiring on how things changed now, because it's also worth rolling. It also counts now for wavering.
So
So
if
you
you want
might.
my opinion, this is crap. This is just not worth taking in any combination. This is just a useless unit.
Okay.
So even if you want a cheap commander, you can take a Thule Aquamage. He can do a lot more. He is a spellcaster. He's even more durable than an envoy. So the only reason to take an envoy would be to have very inspiring, and you won't do it. So I don't see any list which will use an envoy anymore. He cannot even take the loot. That was one of the main reasons why you took it. He doesn't dish out any aura like he did before. So I don't see any point in spending 105 points if you get a commander for 95 points that is a spellcaster that can dish out the same commands and is even more sturdy than this guy. Is just no use in any way I can think. Maybe Mania has another opinion.
So, but I have
I
to
don't
say, we
think so.
don't know yet if commands are restricted, because so we don't know, because we haven't seen the details on command orders yet, or if there are small little hints. So we don't know if spellcasters can issue commands or not. We assume it is the
Even if
case.
not, it's 10 points cheaper. The Aquamage is just a better option. He's cheaper, he's dishing out commands. There's no reason to take an envoy.
I think the army standards models in general will be an issue with the increase in points, because it's being a cheap source for inspiring before with unlimited slots. You just needed an unlock. So if you had a spare unlock, you did, and not a lot of points left, it was like the easy choice. Take the cheap units. Now they cost more, and you are limited to 4 units. So it might be an option for smaller games, like when you play those 1,500 point games, where you are limited to not the expensive commanders and you need the single source of inspiring. You take him. This is a good option for the bigger games, 2,000 or 2,300 points, which is the tournament standard. Everyone else is like more interesting now.
Yes. Let's move on to the Dambuster Sentinel.
Yeah. Your large cavalry hero with Crushing 2, Thunderous 1, Fly Inspiring, and Strider on defense 5+. Menai. Hey or nay?
He's melee 3
More-
plus now. He's better.
He's melee 3+ now, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, it's from the stat line here, it's a solid, fast melee hitter. You can send somewhere in. He has those 5 attacks, and if he gets like 2 wounds, 3 wounds, that was often the case that you needed to the difference between a waiver and a route. So I see him in that role because he's flexible and fast. But on the other hand, for 165 points, I don't know.
I think you
I
can't see him
don't think
isolated. You have to compare him with the Pond Warden, which is a warlord now. And I don't think anyone will take the Dambuster Sentinel. If you just pay 30 points more, you get the Pond Warden, which is much better.
Yeah.
Mm.
Unless you need your warlord slot for someone else or need a second melee hero.
Yeah.
So he's the second choice.
Because this is something we keep in mind. The warlord is limited to a single one, and they give some other special things out there. So if you want to change or take something special, but we go into warlords a little bit more details after we finish the champions. But it's like if you want to have, of course, for the very same unit, you take the warlord because it's just better. But if the warlord slot is already taken by something else, you have to take the champions, and this is then your choice for like a frog army themed meal hero. It's interesting because there's also the infantry sentinel to be taken, which is similar but different. You have your is 4 attacks, defense 4, mini 3+. With a little bit cheaper, he's crushing 1 instead of 2, but also fly. He's an individual, which the Dambuster is not. Still inspiring. He has Leaper, Pathfinder, and a Javelin with piercing 1. So, what do we think about that?
I mean, interesting is that he lost 1 attack. He had 5 and has now 4.
Mm.
He's improved in shooting because he has shooting 4. That means if he stands still, he has got shooting. He's hitting on 3s, but with 4 attacks, that's not very impactful.
Mm.
He has no aura anymore, so
Yeah.
it's kind of it's a commander.
It's a commander. He's a bit cheaper, but I would take the Dambuster Sentinel over the normal infantry Sentinel now.
Or the Black Adam Tide Warden, which is even better.
Yeah, as a melee hero, he would be better.
I mean, it's an interesting point now because we don't know if your shooting hero will have its place later on, because this is like something previously we had the small infantry heroes, which were on the smaller base, easy to sneak somewhere in, taking or adding a shooting harassment play style from a safe point, like hunting down war machines and things like that. Now they are on a larger base because he will have a 40 mil base. I don't know if this is still needed or if you still want to take them, because it's like
He has got no duelists. The former role was to just have an assassin or to dish out the vicious aura, and he lost both of them, so he has no aura anymore, and he doesn't have duelist, so it is rather a theme choice, I think, because points wise 150 points is not nothing. There are a lot cheaper commanders out there which you can take. There are a lot of more useful commanders out there. I don't think we will see the Riverguard Sentinel a lot in the next iteration.
I mean, he has Pathfinder, so like moving him into terrain and then stay there to shoot and be nasty could be an option, but this we need to play games with that one to
no
test things
ensnare
out.
anymore, just defense 4, so he's not even sturdy.
Yeah, he also lost the defense. He was defense 5. So
and no ensnare, so he's killed pretty easily. He's only 13 nerf, so he is not really a melee hero. You can't view him in this aspect. So he's a shooting hero with only 4 attacks and 12 range. So it's rather meh.
We don't know. And the last champion is everyone's favorite. It's Axel Tricklebrook from the Kings of War Champions boxes. He very nice model. 185 points. He has Aura Elite Combat for Sea Monster trait only. He has Crushing 1, Inspiring, Pathfinder, Regeneration 5+, and Icy Waters 4+. Yeah. Icy Waters, which is 18-inch, Piercing 1, and Frostbite. So we have 2 units now with Frostbite in there, so that's why the unique spell is limited to not be combined with the Frostbite units. Overall, it is a model I would like to take in the army just because it's the model as it is. But does it have a place there from the rules point of view, Martin?
Oh, very much.
Yeah.
The Aura Elite Combat is very strong. Just think about the Gigas, which are sea monsters. The Gigas suddenly get elite in melee combat. That's very useful. The Kraken with his Rampage 8 hitting on 3s suddenly gets elite. That's very, very useful. Also the Naka. If he gets a flank, then Axel just jumps over there, gives out his aura, and the Naka really hurts. So Axel is a very, very strong choice to whatever sea monster you take. He's very, very good in with his aura. And that's not the only thing. He's also shooting on 4+ with 18 inches range. So if he stands still, he's shooting on 3+ with piercing 1, 18-inch range, and dishing out frostbite. So he can make units slower, pretty reliable. 185 points is not very cheap, but for a commander, it's in his role, it is absolutely okay.
Yeah, for the rules he dishes out and the flexibility he gives with the frostbite, he's very much worth those points. So he's even for a normal shooting army, if you want to have a themed shooting list, he's still the better hero, because he doesn't belong to any theme. You can just put him in there and say, yeah, he's half frog. You just paint him green and you have a frog there.
Okay. So our last unit type in there are the warlords. So only be taking one of each, and I start in a different order. We have 2 unique ones. This is the Trident King, which is the hero chariot. There are pictures of the models already out there. He has Brutal 1, Crushing 2, Ensnare, Regeneration 5+, Thunderous 1, Very Inspiring, and Guide Spray 12-inch piercing, 1 on 10 attacks. 315 points, so he's an expensive model with defense 5 and no other defensive rules outside of Ensnare. Not the sturdiest one in the army, but still a pretty tanky. Different to what it was before. I think very different than what it was before. Would you guys still take it, Menai?
I mean, I used him for the lifelink aura, and as a chaff to block flank charges on my Naiad Ocean Riders. But he is so expensive now with 315 points. I don't, and he has no auras, no support for other units. He's just himself. I mean, he dishes out the command with 3 dice, but we have Waykeeper options to do that. And as Chaff, 315 points as a Chaff unit is too expensive for me, so I don't think I will take him anymore.
Yeah, it's a pity. It's a very nice model, a new model. So it will be fun to paint. But the Trident King had the former role of the Trident King was he had auras supporting the others, and this new Trident King has no aura anymore. He even lost Nimble, so you can just nimble him around and put him into a unit like you were able to do. He's still pretty sturdy, so defense 5 with regeneration 5 plus and ensnare is pretty sturdy. But I made the experience he dies on the second or third attack anyway, so it is not Kraken. Kraken are more fun. And 315 points is very expensive. So he went up a whopping 100 points from his former point level. Even though he lost his auras, he also lost the shatter on his tidal spray, tide spray. So the tide spray is the same as it was, but it lost shatter. That was one of the reasons I wanted him in a shooting army. Now even that is not the case anymore. And 315 points is just too much for what he does. Speed 8 is nothing special, no nimble. 10 attacks on melee 3 is like a dragon, but he doesn't fly. He has no strider. So why would I take him? It's just too expensive for what he does.
Is he the only unit left with Brutal in the whole army?
Yes, it is. He is.
Yeah, but
we lost all the poison frogs. The frogs were used too much. I think they are extinct now. Very sad for the poison frogs.
Yeah.
So no Brutal in the army anymore, except from this one.
And I don't think that the 315 points are for Brutal one. It's still too expensive.
Just take it.
Yeah.
He might be an option if you want to go full into your high defense, high tanky, sturdy monster army, like taking the Placoderms.
You still have Ector.
Yeah. But it's like he I mean, Act is just he's like a centerpiece model. Like if you want to really go for the big monster centerpiece heavy army, I think he has his place. But from a pure rules point of view, not really worth the points compared to your other warlord options, which is as you already mentioned, Ector is the second unique warlord we have, which is 210 points. Crushing 2, elite, headstrong, individual, inspiring, wind blast. And Ector's wind blast does damage. So
yes, it did before. So Ector lost one attack. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And his nerf went up 1 point, so he's 15 instead of 14 now. But he lost Ensnare, he lost Phalanx, and he went up 45 points. So wow.
It's a tricky one.
I would not take Ector anymore because he lost his role as a unmovable block. With no ensnared, no phalanx, he's just a defense 6 guy. The Placoderm Tide Warden is also a defense 6 guy, but with 65 points cheaper and only taking a champion slot for having similar melee stats. He's the cheaper point. So the only reason I would take Ector is when I'm desperately longing for Wind Blast.
Yeah. I mean, could you think about it that it's like adding Ector with his Wind Blast and 2 Sirens so that you can enthrall a unit and having Ector somewhere behind and then Wind Blast it further or blow them off an objective in the last round. I could see some play, like you want to have Wind Blast in there to go combined with the Sirens and Enfield Heavy Army in general. He might be an interesting choice. Not
But
sure
you
if
could
it's
also
worth the
take the
points,
Sapphire
but
Crown if you just want Wind Blast. It doesn't damage, that's true, but it's much cheaper then.
yeah, the more interesting choices are the non-unique ones, which we have here, the Death Horror Eternal, that it's also in the new 2-player sets.
Very
It's
good.
170 points with the Aura Wild Charge 2 for Oceanborn units, Crushing 2, Inspiring, and Rampage 3. It's... yeah, I think this is a nice addition to everything else in there, especially a Wild Charge Aura now is... how I mean, it's a warlord going to take them, Menai.
Yeah, definitely. So even if you go a beast or sea monster heavy, you still have your Oceanborn choices in the core, and they all profit from that aura. Everything in the core is Oceanspawn, and that make it and he makes it 2 inches faster, so that only benefits you. And the monsters are generally fast. They're speed 6, they're 7, and the core is a bit slower. They are most times speed 5. And having that wild charge there, let's keep them up with the monsters. So he's a monster himself. He can fight, he can dish out commands, and for 170 points, he's almost half the points of the Trident King. So
He's also the
better,
cheapest warlord.
Yeah,
Cheapest warlord options and one of the best.
Yes, he's one of the best and cheapest warlord options. So he wins the prize for warlord of the army.
Maybe worth to mention that the Naiad Worm Riders with speed 8 are also Oceanspawn. So he can dish out Wild Charge 2 to Worm Riders, so they get pretty the equivalent of speed 9, which is very fast then.
Yeah. So
and his attacks moved up a little, so he has 7 attacks now. I mean, he lost in snare and nimble, but he's still a very good option.
Okay. Looking at the other warlord, the Worm Rider Centurion, which is 230 points, Crushing 2, and Snare, Inspiring, Pathfinder, and Regeneration. Like, what do you expect from a Worm Rider Centurion? I don't think I would take them over other warlords outside of a Naiad like themed army. What do you think, Martin?
So he is ensnaring now. That's a big difference. So he's the only ensnaring defense 5 guide other than the Trident King we talked about previously. So if you want to have a high defense ensnaring guy, this one is the only way to go.
Yeah,
and he has 7 attacks now, so he went up in attacks. And he has 16 nerf now, not 15. So he went up in nerf. And he has no Thunderous, so his Crushing Strength 2 will always be there if you need it. Regeneration 5 is nice. Pathfinder is like the Worm Riders have. Pathfinder with speed 8 is still very interesting. And the only thing that is hard is he's pretty expensive. So 230 points is pretty expensive. But he's a warlord, so he has 3 dice with commands. That's worth something.
He also has a lot of zooming power to bring those commands everywhere on the battlefield.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he can.
I mean, this is something we haven't really. Sorry. This is something we haven't really touched yet on commands, because with a limited range of 12-inch, higher speed Pathfinder units are an interesting choice simply to get the commands where you need them, because you're free to move onto the battlefield. There's also like the high speed fly units are good in here. Not sure if how necessary commands are for the different playstyle, if this is like influencing the choice over the other options you have, if this is but this will be we find out with playing more games or playing fourth in general, and then knowing how things are going. Let's take the Bond Warden now, your only frog themed warlord on 195 points, crushing 2. It's the duelist 2 unit with fly, inspiring strider, and thunderous 1. 7 attacks, so against individuals we have 9. Worth taking, yes or no, Martin?
Well, the Pond Warden, it is a unit of its own now. The third edition, it was an upgrade of the River Guard Dambuster Sentinel, and now it's a unit of his own. So this is our Warlord option now. He is hitting on 3s. That's very nice for this kind of frog on frog. He has 16 nerf, so it's a pretty sturdy choice with 5 defense. So it is a very good melee hero, and with fly he can be where you want him to be. The only reason why Centurion would maybe be more useful is the Pond Warden has no Pathfinder, so he cannot land in your in the wood or in a forest or in a field. So if you have if you want to dish out your commands very flexible, take a Naiad Centurion. And if you just want a good melee hero who is very mobile, then Pond Warden is a very good choice, because 7 attacks with fly and strider, you can just get to any flank and do your damage. 195 points is, well, it is not cheap, but warlords are in general pretty expensive. So the only cheaper one is the Depth Horror Eternal. Otherwise, this one is not that expensive. So it's a good reason to take him.
So
he's 35 points cheaper than the Centurion. So if you just want a mobile, fast,
so the Wormrunner Centurion,
warlord, this one is pretty good.
So this brings us to the last but not least choice in your in the warlord section, and this is the Naiad Centurion, the infantry hero, which is what you expect from that model. The 2 interesting points it has the rallying Oceanborn only, or
Ocean Spawn,
option, and it's the only warlord choice in the Trident Realm army that shifts units around, and it made Naiad Heart Piercers in his battalion a core choice. So is this worth a warlord slot for 195 points?
Yeah, you played him before.
I really liked him with the bow. He had a bow. Yes, he had the Trident upgrade, so his shooting, so he got shooting, and his shooting also disordered. I mean, that's not a thing anymore, but that was the main reason I played him. It was just a better hex that already dealt damage, and took Thunderous away or Fly away from other heroes and champions. The rallying option, I think, is interesting. So the regiment of ensnarers get really tanky with that. They are on 16s then, if he's nearby. That can be a really grind focus. And the Heart Piercers, I didn't play the Heart Piercers. Martin had this ugly list with double Heart Piercer regiments, where he shot everything. And yeah, I think it's an option to take him and just say, okay, you take don't take melee support units, but you take like 2 regiments of Heart Piercers as a core, or 3. to have shooting support from behind, and the rest you take sea monsters, for example. So he would be an interesting option if you don't want to go in the melee with your small units and just send sea monsters in. Then they also don't need the speed from the Depth Horror Eternal. That's the trade-off.
I mean,
Because
so
you
that
can
go on.
take both. Because you can take both because they're warlords.
Yeah, that's the point I wanted to make. So with now having a one warlord that changes the core unit choices, and one your warlord you want to have for the wild charge aura, do you think it's worth taking 2 battalions to get both warlords?
Potentially, if you double down on the ocean spawns, because as Martin mentions, the Worm Rider Centurions, the Ocean-born Worm Riders are also ocean spawn, so you can give your cavalry the rallying and the +2 speed. It would be an interesting army if you just double down on the ocean spawn. And
I mean,
don't have much others.
Also,
I mean,
if
also
you play with the Naiad and Snares, the rallying is interesting because your horde gets, with the rallying, it would have 24 nerf, and that's really hard to shift. And if you don't kill it, it can regenerate down. You have your healing support now, so could be an option. If you take Barkskin as a spell, then the Ensnares also could profit from that. So I can see a role for this one. Oh, by the way, I just saw this one has defense 5 and ensnare. So sorry for the mistake before. This one also has defense 5 and ensnare. So if you want to go the ensnaring route, this one is also an interesting choice. It's the same price as the Tomb Warden, but another role.
So, we are already at almost 2 hours now, so I speed things up a little now. With all the units and things that we have seen and discussed now, what do you guys think about the general theme? Because my impression is that we have now a very strong theming going on, that you have this combined arms or going into specific unit types, like you can do your all frog list, you can do your Placoderm heavy list, you can do your sea monster heavy list, you can do your Naiad heavy list. So what is the overall impression? Which one is preferred by you? Going like a Monster Mash or Naiad Regeneration or Full Frog themed army, Martin?
Wow, that's not an easy question because the list is pretty new, and I want to experiment with them a little. So the one thing that has changed is the regeneration list is so building a high regeneration army is not gonna work anymore because you only have regeneration 5. So this one fell out, but the Ensnare heavy list is still very interesting because with the Thools and the Depth Horror Eternals, you have a good range and Ensnare, and the Kraken has improved a lot. So if you want to go ensnaring with Kraken, Thools, and Depth Horror Eternal, that will be a lot of fun. So that will be a list I will definitely try. Also very interesting is a list with a lot of Enthrall and Surge, because the Water Elementals improved a lot, and the Coral Giant is also a very interesting option if you go Surge heavy. And you can also do some high defense list with Trident Realms pretty well, because you have the Placoderm Defenders with defense 6, which are very sturdy and still have their phalanx. And you have your Gigas, which especially supported by Axel are very hard hitters with also defense 6. So very interesting build around them. So it's a very interesting army with lots of interesting builds. personally, I think the Aquamage is a very strong unit as a supporter for your army. The Warlord depends on what direction you're going. So there are a lot of choices. I don't think the army is starved of choices. Just the opposite. It's very interesting. One thing we didn't take into context so far is that the special spell for the army list, this Slime Dem, is also complementing this pulling around and controlling your enemy theme that the Trident list has.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you can use the Slime Dem to slow down your enemies down to speed 3. So
3.
even dwarves are getting slower now if you take
Yeah.
Slime Dem. And every dwarf player knows how hard it is to get slow dwarfs into position, and now you can slow them even more. And together with just maybe wind blasting or enthralling and slowing the enemy, you can make a very controlling army that is just shifting your opponents where he doesn't want to be, and with maybe units like the Naka or some of the faster guys, just doing a little surgery on your opponent's army, taking the pieces out you don't want him to have, and pushing or pulling the rest out of their arcs. So very interesting to play Trident Realms in this version.
So are you saying Trident Realms is controlling the tide of the battle?
Yes, now we can.
Now we have a female here. So okay. For the last question now, before we finish this off, so which old, or how to phrase this one, which old lists are still viable, and what units would you recommend in addition to what was previously not taken? Like, obviously everyone who was heavy into hard piercers can still play them as a core choice, but what would you now go or suggest to people to change for the army from like the previous 3rd edition standards?
The Kraken.
Menai.
Yeah, definitely take a Kraken, as Martin just mentioned. And for me, my lists don't work anymore, because I relied so hard on the ensnare part of the Trident Realms, and so many lost stats. So yeah, the frogs, I had like 7 troops of frogs in there. So, and they all had ensnare, and they blocked the whole enemy army, and that doesn't work anymore. What I think would be a really interesting choice now would be Placoderms. Just be another dwarf player and spam your enemy with armor, 6 models, and take some sea monsters like the Kraken or the Giant or the Naka and hit him over the head from the flanks. Lock up the center.
Don't forget the Hammer of Measured Force command. That is very useful for the Placoderms defender.
Yeah, because they don't have any crushing, and they're hitting them on 4s and 4s with your 15 attacks. It's reliable.
Yeah. So adding in, so do you think the new Petalon box is worth it compared to the old army boxes, or should people still go out there and try to grab as the old boxes before they are gone?
I think you're better off with the new box. What I am seeing.
I mean, just a quick mention for those who don't know, the new box contains your 20 Naiads, 10 Naiad Heart Piercers, 3 Death Horrors, and 16 Placoderms with the 3 Resin Water Elementals and 1 Death Horror Eternal. So it's it looks to be like a good starting army in general from what we have seen. You have like one of everything you want to go. You have a shambling regiment in there. I mean, you can make it into it's a water elemental troop, but you can arrange the free models to be a horde, or now a regiment that was previously a horde. I still need to get used to that one.
Yeah.
And also naiads can be spread out to make 2 regiments instead of just one. So this looks like a good and complete army now.
We forgot to mention something. We forgot to mention something, but with the naiads, they are speed 6 now. That's a big change.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Previously they were 5, now they are 6.
And also the thing is with the Naiad Harpiers and Snares, they come in one box. You get one grid, and you decide which models you are building. If you're building Harpiers or building Snares. So if you don't want the Harpiers, you can just build easily 2 or 3 regiments.
It's 30 hard plastic models that you can shift around in whatever you want. So you can make turning 30 into 2 hordes will get tricky depending on what else do you want. But like from the model, if you don't want to use death horrors as a unit, just split them up, put one of them or 2 of them into the naiads, and you get a nice horde conversion into that. So this is still a possibility. You can use your death horrors to combine them with the water elementals to plague thing out. So this is like from a modeling option, or from a modeling point, you have some options in here. But this is like, so the new Battalion box is like a pretty good start for an army if you don't have already anything or want to expand on your previous builds and go into the one theme. So the only really thing where I think the old one is better would be if you go for the frogs. So like everyone who wants to go into a frog heavy army, I think the old Mega Army box is the way to go.
Yeah.
And I think the only so the hardest to get model now will build the full mage, I think, because it's like you want to have 2 of them, and
but you don't know what to do with your mythicans anyway, so just make
yeah. So everyone who had the mythicant before is now, but I think the
fun fact I have to mention, Mantic has a new Aquamage model. I think they put them on the bold. But the image they use on their list is the mythical.
Okay. So we have it now officially. All the Mephistophelians are to be turned into the Aquamage now. And I think it also is the Aquamage a Mantic point model?
I think it is. Yes, it is. It definitely is. I got one at Clash of Kings, and I used my Mantic point for him. So he is a Mantic point model. So it is kind of different flavor for the Aquamage, and your old Mythicals are the new Aquamages.
Very different models now. That's the important. So you want 2 Aquamages, and you can get 2 very different models to make a theme. So no duplicates in your army, which is pretty important for some hero choices in here. So so just right over 2 hours. So anything we missed or something important you want to guys add to the first preview of the army? I think we will go into model building and army building in a different episode, because currently I don't think it's this will be something that later on, when we know about the full games, to how to build the army and what models to buy and take.
Maybe one thing I wanted to mention.
So with Trident now being a very exciting army to play with a lot of options. We will review this in future again to see how our speculation and first impressions turn out with the full rules released. We will also cover the model building aspect and army building later on in an episode. And for now, I want to say to all of you, thanks for listening. Have a good day, morning, or night whenever you are listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, guys.